Advaitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhayascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Matsamo nasti papatma naparadhi cha kaschana parihare pilajjame kim bhruve purushottama bhumau skalitapadanam bhumireva avalambanam tvai jata paradhanam tvameva sharanam prabho govinda vallabhe radhe prarthaye tvamaham sada tvadiyam iti janathu govindo mam tvaya saha Bhajami Radham Aravindanetram Smarami Radham Madhurasmitasyam Vadami Radham Karunabharardhram Tato Mamanyasti Gatirna Kapi Radha Radhita Radhesha Radhika Pranavallabha Radha Ramana Vandetvam Radhika Prema Nirjita. Hare Krishna. So the topic today we have, it's called the precious gift of time. So let's start off with what time is. And Krishna says something about time in Bhagavad Gita in the 10th chapter. And we can pull up that verse, if extra credit to those who might remember that verse. But if not, the verse is the 30th verse from the 10th chapter. If you can just pull up that particular verse. Because if you talk of time, then you should know what time is or who the time is. Is time a person? Is a energy? Is an entity? What is time? Everybody is talking of time. Everybody is under, everybody talks about time. And everybody is aware of time. 10:30. Thank you. 30. Kindly repeat after me. This verse actually comes from the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In the 9th chapter, Krishna ends his instructions with saying, always think of me. Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaro. But it's hard to think 24/7 of the beautiful form of Krishna. Everybody has their activities to do. If you're a student, you have to study. If you're at work, you have to work. You can't be thinking of Krishna all the time. And then, your boss makes a presentation of a very, very critical, important stuff that your team has to work on and you have to deliver. And then when the question comes, so what did you understand? Everywhere I see the beautiful form of Krishna, and that's what I can understand from this. There is going to be some problem. Either you are really fit for Vrindavan and nothing else to do, or we have some adjustments to make. So, because when this was asked, or which was asked by Krishna, that always think of me, Then Arjuna said, how can I think of you? And then Krishna gave a list of stuff. When you see things in material world, there are some things that instantaneously make you think of Krishna. For example, he says, amongst the ocean, amongst the body of water, I am the ocean. So when you go and see Pacific Ocean, then you can see, wow, this is power of Krishna. At least you can remember that way. So in that same sequence of verses, this verse comes. So if you can kindly repeat after me, that'll be wonderful. But if not, it's fine. Prahlaadaschasmi daityanam kala kalayatamaham mriganam cha mrigendroham vainateyascha pakshinam. Translation. Among the Daitya demons, I am the devoted Prahlada. Among the subduers, I am time. Among beasts, I am the lion. And among the birds, I am Garuda. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Diti and Aditi are two sisters. The sons of Aditi are called Adityas, and the sons of Diti are called Daityas. All the Adityas are the devotees of the Lord, and all the Daityas are atheistic. Although Prahlad was born in the family of Daityas, he was a great devotee from his childhood. Because of his devotional service and godly nature, he is considered to be a representative of Krishna. There are many subduing principles, but time wears down all things in the material universe, and so represents Krishna. Of the many animals, the lion is the most powerful and ferocious, and of the million varieties of birds, Garuda, the bearer of Lord Vishnu, is the greatest. So Krishna says, of all the subduers, I am time. And in fact, in the 11th chapter also, it is... Thank you. In the 11th chapter also, Krishna says, because Krishna, he reveals his universal form to Arjuna, this gigantic manifestation where all the planets, times, demigod, everything is there in that particular form. And then after seeing that ferocious form of Krishna, Arjuna is perturbed, and he says later, what's your mission? Why did you come here? And he says, time I am the destroyer of the three worlds, and I have come to destroy. So devotees usually associate time with destruction, with something which is of fear. While that is true, the perception of time as something very negative is also that's something we need to re-examine. For example, if you are now, students had taken Bhakti Shastri exam. We had the exam for 2.5, 3 hours. While the time factor was definitely there that you had to complete within certain time, but to focus on just the negative aspect of time was not the best thing. If the student always thought, oh, my time is going to end, and you can't write a single word on the paper, which is not the best use of the time either. So while the time factor seems negative, the time also has the positive aspect to it. And we can discuss more as we go along in this session. But what is time? And then this is one aspect of time which is non-different than Krishna. Krishna is the time personification, or time is energy. One more verse actually talks, we'll take from 10th canto, Sutra Malik Prabhu, 10th canto, 16th canto, 16th chapter, 41st verse. So the time actually belongs to Krishna, or time is Krishna in one aspect of it. So let's see this particular verse. This is the prayers by the wives of Nagas or Kaliya. 10, 16, 41. Kindly repeat after me.
That's actually blocking the way any devotee can announce.
Okay. this is an announcement. So there is a beige Lexus with license plate 6CUU810 that is blocking the parkway. You have to remove it. Thank you. The time has come to remove. Kindly repeat after me. Kalaya kalanabhaya kalavayavasakshine vishvaya tad upadrashte tatkartre vishvahetave. Translation. Obeisances unto you who are time itself, the shelter of time and the witness of time in all its phases. You are the universe and also its separate observer. You are its creator and also the totality of all its causes. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, although appearing in different incarnations, can never be limited by time, since he is time himself, the shelter of time, and the witness of time in all its phases. So, the time is one of the energies of Krishna. And if you can see in this material world, irrespective if you believe in God or not, time factor will wear you down. Oh, I'm an atheist, time can't touch me. No, sir. It doesn't matter. I am a particular member of a particular religion or a particular sect or a particular caste. Sorry, the time is still going to affect you. So time is an energy of Krishna. And in fact, in some places it's mentioned as since the energy and the energetic are non-different. So time is Krishna himself. And you might be saying, why are you telling me all this stuff? Because we need to know at least where the time is coming from and who the time belongs to. I have time. People say, I have time, right? But really, whose time is it? Is it your time? Or is it somebody else's time? So we need to know that time actually is an energy of Sri Krishna. But usually, how is the time spent? Okay, now we know what time is, but how is time spent? Usually, how do people spend their times? Activities. Somebody said activities. How else do people spend their time? Sleeping. Excellent. Eating. Recreation. Good. Working. Very important. In Silicon Valley, that's the time that is spent most of the time. Working. Yes, Kushal. Commuting. Commuting. That is true. That is true. And it's become part of work. If you don't have work, then you don't have to commute. So, it's not surprising because Bhagavatam also pretty much says that's what is happening. If you turn to Canto 2, first chapter, 3rd verse. So kindly repeat after me. Nidraya hriyate naktam vyavayena cha vavayaha divacharte hayarajan kutumba bharanena va. Translation. The lifetime of such an envious householder is passed at night either in sleeping or in sex indulgence, and in daytime either in making money or maintaining family members. Purport. The present human civilization is primarily based on the principles of sleeping and sex indulgence at night, and earning money in the day, and spending the same for family maintenance. Such a form of human civilization is condemned by the Bhagavata school. Because the human life will stop there. Why is it condemned? If you go and talk to people, they say, I'm doing well. I'm earning money. So what? This is how the things are. I have to work hard to maintain myself, and I am enjoying life. So what is your problem in saying that? Why are you condemning my happiness? What would be your answer? Yes, Shraddha from San Diego. Shraddha? Shraddha? Meet your neighbor, Shraddha. All right.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So animals do the same.
Okay.
As what they condemn is sex indulgence at night and sleeping, and then during the day going out, working and gathering food for their family. That's exactly what animals do. So there would be no difference if humans did the same thing all day and night.
Shraddha, so someone might say man is a social animal. So why are we being condemned by doing that? Sanket has something to answer. Unless you had something to say, okay, he gets the mic. No Sanket. Sanket in Hindi means signal for those.
So humans are having a higher intelligence. So
humans are having higher intelligence.
they are wasting their time not using it right.
Thank you. Okay. So we are getting somewhere, which means that humans have higher intelligence. Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, that form of happiness is non-permanent.
That form of happiness is not permanent.
It will go away and then we'll seek another source of happiness, and that will also go away, so we'll keep on running and running.
Thank you. Shraddha Mataji.
So trying to indulge in enjoyment causes bondage to the material world. And
causes
like
bondage.
To do that, and we have to remember that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. So we shouldn't be enjoying things. We should rather do things for Krishna's pleasure.
Thank you. So, yes, Mataji. So, mic? Somebody can give her mic, please.
If we mimic the animals, then the animalistic way of life, then our soul could actually progress into the lower species of life.
Thank you. Yes, you had something to say. Yes, Prabhuji.
It's on. Haribol. Prabhuji, so if we lose this human form, then that is one of the greatest dangers that Krishna is warning in Bhagavad Gita. Right? So that's why it is, my understanding is it is condemned to waste this valuable human form, because if you lose it, then you might get it after so many lifetimes once one falls into your animal life.
Thank you. So, but the missing link is something that we will find out. We'll read further in the purport. Because the human life is combination of matter and spirit, soul, the whole process of Vedic knowledge is directed at liberating spirit soul from the contamination of matter. The knowledge concerning this is called Atma Tattva. So the first lesson that Krishna teaches Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita is that you are not this body. If that link is missing, then everything just falls apart. Every argument, you can take it, you can just turn it back on its head. Oh, what do you mean you can't eat meat? Right? So we say that, you are eating vegetables, we are eating meat. So what's the difference? So the problem is that if there is no spiritual basis of our argument, then every argument can be turned back on its head. And especially in US, where there is pursuit of liberty, freedom and happiness. In that name, people can do anything if there is no spiritual basis or foundation to one's life. I'll tell you another example. We glorify sports people who are strictly observing diet. So there will be volumes and books written about a particular successful sports gold medalist at Olympics who worked for 2 years. Wow, they didn't even eat any ice cream. They were like not consuming any fat. They did amazing stuff. They maintained their body fit, and and look at this, they are great and they are cheered in the world. And when we say you should not eat meat, they'll say you are fools. Because the Olympic sports person was trying to aim for a higher purpose, and in the process of that, they were giving up the lower kind of stuff that were obstructing their purpose. We are also doing that same sports person, but our gold medal is Krishna. And to that extent we can obtain Krishna in this life, to that extent we abstain from things that are not helping us to progress. Same way as a sports person says that I need to progress, because they mark, okay, what's the world record? And where am I? And how can I get there? Okay, you have to give up these things. You have to train these many hours. You have to not do these things. So there are so many rules and regulations to achieve certain position, and they are glorified in this material world. So what's wrong with devotees taking confidence in the fact that we are also, our gold medal is Krishna. In fact, our diamond medal is Krishna. Right? So that's what Srila Prabhupada writes further. Those who are too materialistic are unaware of this knowledge and are more inclined to economic development for material enjoyment. Such materialistic men are called karmis or fruitive laborers. They are allowed regulated economic development or association of women for sex indulgence. Those who are above the karmis, that is jnanis, yogis and devotees, are strictly prohibited from the sex indulgence. So, in this purport, we can see how the time is being wasted in activities that are not conducive. And the basis for what is conducive and what is not conducive is Atma Tattva, or Jnana of soul, or the Atma. Alright, so any thoughts on that before we move to the next aspect? Because I don't want to get too much into this, because this is still the condition of economic or modern civilization, which is based on time or based on sex indulgence and maintaining one's body. But the bigger point is that the time is being wasted in this particular pursuits. So I wrote down certain axioms for time. Time is irreplaceable. Yes or yes? Do you know what was the worth of Apple founder when he quit his body? $7.56 billion. That was his personal worth. But when time came, there was no way anybody can trade $1 billion for 1 month. There is no bargaining chips happening there. Once the time is lost, that's it. Any questions or any further thoughts on that? Okay, I thought Divya Mataji raised her hand. She was taking her beads. So. The time is yours. From the time you're born till the time you leave this body, it is your own time. Nobody can have say over your time except your employer. Unfortunately. Most of the time at least. Right? Or your college, whatever the schedule is. The time is yours. And what you want to do with the time is nobody can dictate it. Krishna has given you that particular time, that particular wealth that is yours, that you are free to use. In fact, it's the classic case of use it or lose it. So the question then comes is, why are people so stressed out with time? It's the time management, heaps and heaps of books are written. Management consultants are making use of their time and making fortune from that. And everybody is talking about how to manage your time. So my question is, why is it such a situation that there is not much time? In fact, one of my friends, he sent me this. Let me see if I can pull it up. It's a pretty funny statement that he makes, or he got it from somewhere. Where is it? Okay, so he said, once upon a time, there was a time when everyone had time. Once upon a time, there was a time when everyone had time. But with the elapse of time, we have reached a time where people have everything but time. So the question is, how did we come from a world that was supposed to be quote unquote primitive, supposed to be backward, supposed to be pretty non-intellectual, to the highly, because mankind, actually, a modern world, we make such tall statements. The knowledge that's been discovered in last 100 years is nowhere close to what has been discovered 3,000 years prior to that. And we make such statements, so on and so forth. So the question comes is, how did we reach such a stage where we are having so much of difficulty trying to find time? And this is an interactive session, so. Yes, Venkatesh.
Greed.
Greed.
Greed. Greed.
Greed. What? Elaborate on that.
People don't want to settle for what they need. They want more and more and more. And they get envious when they see people and they work crazy and they make others crazy and they and they set the peer pressure, like one person in the team becomes like that, then you're all set, you're done. So
thank you. This is just the greed for position or money or just whatever. Need more than what you have.
Needs more.
Excellent. Vijay.
So in the process of making simple things simpler, we made such a complex system. Now we have to spend time to manage that much complex system.
That is true. That is so true. Care to give a couple of examples before I give it to Rinda Sevaka?
For example, electricity, which we are using at home for our regular day-to-day purpose. Now that has a very complex system to manage, which requires a lot of people to put in. But electricity actually solves simple problems at home, which earlier days people used to solve that problem very easily. Now because we are now used to it, we cannot live without the electricity.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, there are so many things are coming which can entertain you in this age, but the main thing that maybe people can't make priorities. Like I like how Shashika Prabhu, he was telling, if you don't have time for japa, that means that it's not that you don't really have this time. It's just it's not your priority. So like if people would work on their priorities and focus, then maybe main things will be done. And then there are things that they are not that important in life, maybe.
Excellent, thank you. So we have to make priorities in our life. Okay. Madhav Govinda Prabhu and then Sanket.
Prabhupada talks about unnecessary necessities that people create actually. Like things that are not needed, we make it as a requirement. So that's why there is so much of complexity and there's no time for things that are needed.
Care to elaborate? Some of the items that are really...
in one sense, cellular phones, obviously, now it's become a necessity, but I mean, in the past hardly anyone had it, but
still life went on.
Yeah.
In fact, I know a devotee. If I tell the name, probably people will recognize, so I don't want to, but I know a devotee who steadfastly has maintained to get any form of cellular phone in his pocket. If you need to call him, you have to call him at his home phone. He really doesn't carry any cell phone, flip phone, iPhone, smartphone, nothing. Oh, okay. No, I didn't know that. Wow, nice. I see. But okay.
It's on the similar lines. Lot of distractions nowadays.
Lot of distractions. Madhavi Mataji, and then somebody raised their hand, and then Shamlangi Mataji, and then Mayapur. Oh, you had something to add to that, or question? Okay. I was up because Mayapur Prabhu works for Apple. I was thinking like, hey, why do you are saying Apple iPhones are like? Yes, go ahead, Mataji.
We want a immediate satisfaction.
Immediate, instant satisfaction.
Yeah, so that's why we created micro ovens and so many things that we want to fly immediately. Previously, people used to walk, so that's why problems come like obesity and food gets destroyed when you cook in micro oven, and your health gets destroyed, and you spend time for your health and so many things. So immediate satisfaction. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Shamlangi Mataji and then Mayapur Prabhu.
So I was just comparing, like, once upon a time I was saying that people had time. So some changes, like he said, commuting. So people earlier worked near their homes, even if they did work. Now we go long distances to work. And another thing is probably shopping. We spend a lot of time in shopping, like even for Thanksgiving, I'm sure. Even we say we don't want, but still people go, or we spend time online. And then many people for makeup, we have to look good, so for that you spend time. Yeah. And then when in the night you have to remove that, so again we spend time. So all these things, so changes are there. I mean, though they're unnecessary, but people think it's a necessity. So
excellent point. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I had a question combining the time factor with the earlier point of, over endeavor, or the endeavor, the job part, the working part. Prabhu, I personally have seen that planning and management plays a big role even in devotees' life. Like there have been instances where devotees have immaturely taken decision, I'll give up my job, that. And over the longer run, it has been detrimental to the Krishna consciousness. In their 40s and 50s, they've reverted back, to earning. And the vice versa, of course, obviously true, knowing your limits, how much to spend time on earning. But my question is, sometimes Maya, these are not that black and white. Mind tends to trick. If you spend a little more time now, your retirement might be that much more better. or from a devotee perspective, we have seen that, if you just do that much, a little more business better now, probably at 50, which Prabhupada always advocated that age, or at some age, you may not have to have this IT grinding. So my question is, this is a very nice discussion, but unless you balance it, either way, that's chaos. Especially where that mind tends to tell you that little more effort now will give you a better, but that better when. What is your take on that? What is your advice?
So, if I understand you right, mind tricks you to say you work hard now, and then your life will be better in retirement. So,
especially in today's world, you have to plan. More important, even today, with the medical costs and all, you better have some planning. So the mind tends to, trick you that, or little more, and, you'll be safe. Little more, you may not have to work after this age. But the flip side is you have no time then for your devotional services, reading, and a lot of other things that we just talked about. It's a very consumed lifestyle.
Yeah.
So where do we draw a level or a line? Sometimes some management is really helpful.
Okay, thank you. Kanka Mataji had her hand raised, so please give her the mic.
I'm not sure if this is a good answer, but Srila Prabhupada would always encourage us to always have balance and to do our best every day. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had a prayer that said, forget the past that sleeps, never the future, dream it all. Live with times that are with thee, and progress thee shall call. So one of the devotees was talking about prioritizing. So even if, let's say, take each day and try to do your best, you might be overwhelmed with so much work, but that doesn't mean you can't think of Krishna. Chanting Hare Krishna can be done anywhere, at any time. You get in the shower, you can chant. You're driving to work, you can chant. And it doesn't mean that, somehow or other you have to give up, because you don't know when everything will end. None of us know. It could be in a few minutes. A bomb or a plane could crash into the temple. None of us know when time will end. So my opinion is, do the best you can every moment and just try to remember Krishna. Prabhupada's constantly repeated, always remember Krishna, never forget him. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. So, the world throws so much at us and we become so overwhelmed. But, like she said, prioritize and don't be greedy. He talked about greed. What do we need? Prabhupada would talk about simple living and higher thinking.
Thank you. Yes, please.
So there was this lecture from my Guru Maharaj. He pointed out in 8.2.30 in Srimad Bhagavatam about leading a balanced life. So, maybe Prabhuji, if you want to watch that, I don't know if you've seen that one. It was extremely illuminating. So, if you would like, I can put up the verse on the
Sure.
screen.
Yeah, you can put it up. But while you pull up the verse, I empathize with your concerns, Mayapur Prabhu, because mind says like that. Your body is getting old, which means that you have to work now because your body might fall apart any time. So you have to save something for the rainy day. So that thought is a persistent thought that always crops up. It has to be. Okay, let's read up this particular verse and then we can do that translation, please. Thereafter, because of being pulled into the water and fighting for many long years, the elephant became diminished in his mental, physical, and sensual strength. The crocodile, on the contrary, being an animal of the water, increased its enthusiasm, physical strength, and sensual power. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. In the fighting between the elephant and the crocodile, the difference was that although the elephant was extremely powerful, he was in a foreign place, in the water. During 1,000 years of fighting, he could not get any food, and under the circumstances, his bodily strength diminished. And because his bodily strength diminished, his mind also became weak and his senses less powerful. The crocodile, however, being an animal of the water, had no difficulties. He was getting food and was therefore getting mental strength and sensual encouragement. Thus, while the animal became reduced in strength, the crocodile became more and more powerful. Now from this we may take a lesson that in our fight with Maya, we should not be in a position in which our strength, enthusiasm and senses will be unable to fight vigorously. Our Krishna consciousness movement has actually declared war against the illusory energy in which all the living entities are rotting in the false understanding of civilization. The soldiers in this Krishna consciousness movement must always possess physical strength, enthusiasm and sensual power. To keep themselves fit, they must therefore place themselves in the normal condition of life. What constitutes a normal condition will not be the same for anyone, and therefore there are divisions of Varnashram, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyas. Especially in this age, Kali Yuga, it is advised that no one takes sannyas. Ashwamedam gavalambham sannyasam palapaitrikam devarnena stopattim Kalau pancha vivarjet, Brahma Vaivarta Purana. From this we can understand that in this age, sannyasa ashrama is forbidden because people are not strong. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu showed us an example in taking sannyas at the age of 24 years. But even Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya advised Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be extremely careful because he had taken sannyas at an early age. For preaching, we give young boys sannyas, but actually it is being experienced that they are not fit for sannyas. There is no harm, however, if one thinks that he is unfit for sannyas. If he is very much agitated sexually, he should go to the ashram where sex is allowed, namely the Grihastha ashram. That one has been found to be very weak in one place does not mean that he should stop fighting the crocodile of Maya. One should take shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna, as we shall see Gajendra do, and at the same time one can be a Grihastha if he is satisfied with sexual indulgence. There is no need to give up the fight. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore recommended Sthane Sthita Shrutigatam Tanuan Manobhi. One may stay in whichever ashram is suitable for him. It is not essential that one take sannyas. If one is sexually agitated, he can enter the Grihastha ashram, but one must continue fighting. For one who is not in the transcendental position, to take sannyas artificially is not a very great credit. If sannyas is not suitable, one may enter Grihastha ashram and fight Maya with great strength. But one should not give up fighting and go away. Thank you, Prabhu, for showing this. This is more specific when Srila Prabhupada found that many of his disciples were falling down from the sannyas ashram that he gave. But in the modern context, one should understand two things. That ultimately how much plan I make to get money, Krishna has to protect it for me. If his protection is not there, then no matter how nicely I try to maintain, there are always people who can steal money. That's what Bhagavatam says about money. That for it, in the case of the story of Avanti Brahman in 11th canto, he was hoarding money, but Bhagavatam said one way or other he lost his money. Relatives came, took away the money, government taxes, so many places it happened that the money was completely gone. So the primary criteria for that planning is that unless Krishna agrees and allows and maintains, there is no way I can maintain that money even if I earn now. The other risk in that kind of thinking is that today I am losing. The time today is lost in my devotional service. So the decision I make is, if Krishna or his service is compromised, then I am not going to earn money. I am not going to endeavor to the point that I have to sacrifice my spiritual life. Because please understand, as we were talking earlier, the human body, as many devotees mentioned, is extremely rare. We get this. Why do you need money? You need money to maintain the body. But what if you don't even have the body in the first place? Then why is money needed? Our problem is we are trying to solve no body problem, which means no money is needed, nothing is needed. No sleep is needed, no bank balance, no passwords, nothing is needed, because you are a pure spirit soul, and that is your eternal nature to be happy. So the balance comes. Mayapur Prabhu is saying that today I am not going to compromise my service for the sake of whatever might or might not come in future. Even if it might come, if it comes, assume that it comes. Let's take hypothetical. For example, today, I'll just bare minimum chant my rounds, and my rounds will be compressed zip file. 45 minutes done, so that the rest of the time is kind of going on with my activities, my business, and I am having a job, and then I need a side business, I'll maintain this. Assume that you become super successful in your business. The problem is that becomes so attractive, Krishna is gradually lost. Krishna's service is gradually not given prominence. And at any time it can happen. The danger is, modern life, that's another thing. Kali Yuga, Modern life, iPhone, so many temptations. Easy to fall down, I fell down. But the fight is perpetual. Whether you are in Satya Yuga, you have your own set of dangers, subtle dangers. Material nature is such a place where there is no excuse for not serving Krishna. Ahaituki apratihata. I was always wondering about this. Savai pumsa paro dharma yato bhakti radhokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. One, you don't have to pull it up, but Bhagavatam 126. Right? Okay. So I was thinking, ahaituki apratihata, how is it possible in modern time? In ISKCON Silicon Valley, it's impossible. Either Bhagavatam is exaggerating stuff, or maybe I'm missing out something. How is it possible? So, Krishna, the more one takes shelter of Krishna, irrespective of how much ever money that one makes, to that extent Krishna will provide. There is the balance comes between how much I depend on Krishna versus how much I am going to endeavor to make money on my own or secure my own future, whatever the means. So the balance should be always tilted towards Krishna. Even if my life is secure or whatever is secure, my balance or my tilt is towards I am depending on Krishna. Because you have to depend on Krishna. There have been so many instances where rich people, everything taken away from them in a moment of time. We had the Ponzi scheme because of a peculiar character who made off money of many people. They invested their lifetime savings in that particular person. And it was completely wiped out. At the age of 70, they were multi-millionaires. At the age of 70, they realized their savings had been wiped out and they just had to go to work in that particular age. So, here is the simple thing. If Krishna wants you to release from the bondage of work, you will be happy anywhere in any situation. But if Krishna does not allow you, then no matter how hard you try to retire, you still have to work. Because the common tendency becomes, if I become devotee of Krishna, then somehow I don't have to work. Krishna will take care of stuff for me. He will maintain. He is the maintainer. He will maintain. I don't have to work. That subtle mentality is there in the back. Then the mind says, no, if you retire, see, you are struggling so much to do service. If you retire, then, you can do full-time service. But, whose service? Then that's a different question. Whether the service of mind or service of Krishna, that's a different question. But Krishna is saying, even up till he says to Arjuna, Bhakto sime sakha cheti. He says, you are my friend, you are my devotee. Then he's still making him fight. He's not saying that I'll take care of you, please relax. Here you fight. And then in the 18th chapter he says, my devotee is engaged in so many kinds of activities. We have this children's competition, right? We had this verse. What was that verse? Sarva karmani api sada. He says, my devotee is engaged in all kinds of activities. See, Krishna is not saying my devotee is engaged in all kinds of retirement. He's saying he's engaged in all kinds of, under my protection, he is able to maintain, or she is able to maintain. So the idea is that if we are working, then that work is something, as long as it is not destructive, as long as it is not horribly sinful, then that work is something that is ordained by Krishna, and we can continue to work on this. Because he says same thing in Arjuna, you are declining to fight. But because of your nature, you will fight. That's your nature. I have given you that nature because of which you will fight. Or you have acquired that nature nevertheless. But the thing is, your work is something that you have to do. I'm digressing from the topic, but does that answer your question? So today's seva, we won't compromise for tomorrow's supposed profit. Might come, might not come. Assume even if it comes, then, I was thinking, billionaires, they have billions of dollars. What will they do with that money? Their mind becomes so agitated that we need to do something. Either I have to show off because the first thing they need to do is show off. People who have nothing, they want to show off. If a beggar gets a cell phone, he has to show off. Put it on the Facebook right now. So people need to show off. So the more money you have, the more you need to show off. The more outrageous things you need to do to grab attention. To know people will know that you need to know. So the point is, the money in of itself is not making you happy. It is the quote-unquote attention and the prestige of the world that's going to make you happy. But think of it, if the same thing is spent in service of Krishna, you will get highest happiness. Plus you don't need to really show off. So the balance is, my time is something which I'm not going to compromise irrespective of what future promises may hold. Maya Devi is just tricking you by saying, I'll give you happiness. But there is no greater happiness than serving lotus feet of Krishna. Period. That, if one is firmly convinced of that, and Bhagavatam says again and again and again. He says, Yayatma Suprasidhati, the verse which we talked about, even the most perfect mystic yogis in different kinds of yoga systems cannot get the same kind of happiness as one is serving the lotus feet of Krishna in unalloyed devotion. Even the very thought of doing service, even the very meager effort to do the service, what to speak of being actually situated in that effort. And there are so many places in Bhagavatam that they say that Prahlad Maharaj, for example, it came. Nrsimhadev came. We know the story. Should I tell the story a little bit before we go? Yes. Okay, I'll elaborate on that story. So, as we know, Hiranyakashipu was the son of Diti, and he was killed. His brother was killed by Varaha. He became very furious. He went to the Gandhamadana mountains to perform austerities. And the austerity was that he was standing on the toe of one leg with his arms upraised in air. I tried it at home, it was impossible. Just to stand on the ball of the foot itself was a struggle. What to speak of standing on one toe? So he did that for 100 celestial years, which is a pretty long time. And ants came, bit his flesh, animals came, bit his flesh, they cleaned up to his bones, he still didn't budge. There was a mountain hill formed from that austerities, he didn't budge. And because he became perfect in his austerities, the demigods started feeling the heat, and they complained to Lord Vishnu, Brahma. Actually, they told Brahma, he is trying to take your position, so you better do something about it. So Brahma said, okay, I'll go. And then Hiranyakashipu, he asked all sorts of boons, as we know the story. He asked that, we know the story about the insurance policy. I can't be killed by this. But the thing he asked was, the interesting part, that I may have no rival. And no rival as in like the elections of 2020, that is not the rivalry he was talking about. I have no rival anywhere in the entire three worlds, which means all the Daityas, the Kinnaras, the Rakshasas, you name all the demigods, Indra, everybody, they become my servants. I have nobody who can fight and challenge me. So he had the dominion of entire three worlds. Imagine you saying to the sun, please rise at 7:20 tomorrow, not at 7:05. Hiranyakashipu was able to say that and sun would do that. He had that kind of power. And the whole world, he stopped the performances. He stopped any sacrificial performances. He thought Lord Vishnu is his sworn enemy. Anything to do Lord Vishnu, let's stop. So he said to the people, chant my name because I am the supreme. I control everyone. And he stopped all the sacrificial performances. He stopped all sorts of any scriptures talking about Lord Vishnu. And he was thinking I am very powerful because I have control over everyone. Not some small corporation or a small group or a small temple. He had that kind of control. And as we know the story of how Prahlad was born to him, and Prahlad was in his womb when he went off to do austerities, and then he was, as soon as he left to do austerities, the demigods attacked his wife. They said, let's kill this son because Hiranyakashipu is giving us so much trouble. God only knows how much more powerful his son will be. So let's preemptive attack, kill him. And then they tried to take Kayadu, his wife, and kidnap her and keep her at a place where till she's delivered the son, and then kill the son and then release her. That was their plan. And Narada came, he said, no, whoever is in the womb of this lady is the exalted soul, and you have to, I'll take care of her. And he took her to his ashram, and he taught her the science of devotional service. And Prahlad was in the womb of his mother, and he was able to assimilate all the knowledge. And as soon as he was born, he was the topmost exalted devotee. And his teachers tried to tell him in many ways about the diplomacy, because Hiranyakashipu wanted him to be trained in diplomacy as a future king. But he was completely absorbed in devotional service to Vishnu. And when Hiranyakashipu asked him, so what did you learn from your teachers? He said, the best thing is, devotional service to Krishna. And then Hiranyakashipu became furious. Initially, he became furious because he blamed the teachers. He said, you rascal teachers, you have polluted the mind of my son. He said, no, we didn't do that. We'll take him back. But they took him back and they taught him. And then again it happened. And then Hiranyakashipu got furious. He made so many attempts to kill him. In fact, it is said in Bhagavatam that it's a sequence. Like they tried this, they tried that, they tried this. For example, he tried using serpents and then elephants at one stroke. It didn't happen at one stroke. So he tried. Please understand, till that point, Hiranyakashipu had no fear. He didn't know what the word fear meant because he never experienced it after he got the boons from Brahma. But when he saw for the very first time, the first attempt to kill Prahlad was a failure, then fear started creeping into him. The anger gave rise to fear. How is it that I got the boon of not dying, and this small 5-year-old innocent child with absolutely no backup or no security details or secret service guarding him, how is he able to do it? The first tinge of fear came. And then he tried in so many ways. He killed him once, he tried to kill him once, and then tried to pacify. Then tried. In that way it went. And they were not like ordinary attempts. In fact, it was said that when he was tried to burn to death. You know the story, right? You know at least. There it seems that the Rakshasas prepared a pyre that the flames were reaching to the skies. And when Prahlad was thrown into it, he was like a moth in that particular flame. And Hiranyakashipu was completely like, what's going on here? And then, as we know the story, Lord Nrsimhadev comes and he kills him. And when Lord Nrsimhadev asks for a boon, Prahlad Maharaj says, I don't want anything. Because I have experienced this so-called power through my father, and I found it was meaningless and worthless. And the only thing I want is your service. So, our time that we have is something that can be used in service of Krishna for highest benefit. And that choice is something that we can make. You can use your time in so many ways. Once you use it, it can never come back. But you use it wisely, then that can give you lasting benefits. And then, Prahlad Maharaj says that the life of a man spends so much time in sleeping, so much time here, so much time there, and practically there is hardly any time to pursue spiritual realization. So, in the Silicon Valley, it is tough, but we depend on Krishna, one way or other. If you have a job, you depend on Krishna. If you don't have a job, you depend on Krishna. Does that little bit answer Mayapur Prabhu? But you still are not kind of convinced. Okay. But what is another perspective? Let's discuss. The idea is that one perspective is that devotional service can't be compromised. Because my body or my time is ebbing away. And tomorrow is something, as Kanka Mataji said with that poem, tomorrow is something I really don't know. And whether any business or any money-making investment is fraught with risk. More than making money, it is risk management. How do you manage the risk? When you make a loss, how do you manage the risk? But with devotional service, there is no risk. So why do we not invest our time in something which is more risk-free and the returns are pretty high and lasting? At least if that fundamental thing is there, the other things can go plus and minus. Yeah, you can't buy a luxury car probably in 2 years' time. So big deal. Okay. We'll pivot back a little bit because I have a few other points to cover. So many people talk of obstacles, and many people said about gadgets and so many things. And somebody said prioritize. So I have a question. How many people prioritized, and what were their experiences with prioritizing? How many people prioritized? And you don't have to, it doesn't have to be like a Alcoholics Anonymous session where you tell your failures, but in general, some perspectives will be nice. What is the biggest problem with planning? Or did anybody encounter the planning, or is it just me? Yes, Prabhu. Advaita Chandra Prabhu, yes? Execution of the planning, excellent, all right. Failure to plan. Assume that you planned. Or assume that you planned. You didn't plan for failure, you planned for success. But execution is what is mentioned. Any other things? Dissatisfaction also. So, inevitable reasons. So you make the plan, and then your mind, we have to come back with the risk factor or with the excuses. The planning goes on one side, the excuses come on one side, and the other side why we don't do it.
And then other thing is like natural calamities might occur. Like you have planned something tomorrow.
You have to put the mic.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have planned something tomorrow, but then there is an earthquake. So it's like, okay, your whole plan has crashed. So that is like natural and then personal as well.
Okay, so here is where we are getting into this nitty-gritties. Okay, Vrinda Sevaka and then Shubhankar Prabhu and then Vijay Prabhu.
Problem also with making plan flexible. When you put certain flexibility in your plan, then it works. Most likely it will work out. And also planning like depending on the different life phases. Like while you're a student, you have certain plans, and then like as you're moving, so like keeping wise and flexible plans, it helps.
Wise and flexible plans. Flexible as in like
give some
slightly flexible.
Yes, if something is changing, so you
not
have
infinitely flexible.
No procrastination. Definitely.
Yeah, so what I have seen in my plan, that priorities are always changing. If let's say I fix my priority, I plan, okay, I will do it this, but in the meantime, so many changes happens, then my mind is, like not able to fix up which priority. So, it's get diluted. And I've seen is really, for last 10 years I'm planning, but nothing is happening because priorities are changing.
Thank you for being so candid. Vijay Prabhu and then Venkatesh.
Setting a very high bar and also going to very detailed planning, so such a way that only robots can execute.
Right. Venkatesh, good point.
I always felt that having a plan always is better than not having a plan. For sure, we won't be able to reach what we plan, but it's always better than not having a plan. It's always keep changing, you have to adjust to it, but it always helps. at least you have some reference point so that you can adjust it.
Thank you. Anybody else had some other thoughts on that? Shraddha, you had any thoughts?
Okay.
Please give her the
I'll
mic.
share one more thought.
Okay.
If you don't have a plan, you will fall in other people's plan. So that's other problem.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Madhavi.
When we put plans and then distractions, daily distractions, like you put a plan that when I open the computer, I will use this, I will fulfill this, and then one video pops up and other Facebook pops up, and then you get distracted.
And 7 hours later, you didn't write that one-line email that we were supposed to send.
Yeah. And how to achieve your plans is a good way is that you put plans for a short period of time, like 1 month plan. Complete Bhagavad Gita like within 1 month or something like that, so you can achieve.
Sprint planning. So Kanka Matji, I don't know you heard, but in the software it's become agile planning. In every 2 weeks you have to plan something and deliver. And every day you have to stand up and tell like what did you do. So somebody else, you have to pray to Krishna. Yeah, I have to pray to Krishna. Yeah, agile planning means agile praying to Krishna. You had something to say? Yeah, please give the phone mic to her.
That reminds me of how sometimes I would think of something to get something from a room, and then I walk to the room, and then by the time I get to the room, I forget why I walked in there.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So all these points are pretty valid that you have said. So some of the points to recap is, when we plan too much or set the bar too high. Unfortunately, what happens is, when we set the bar too high, then the mind thinks of the end result and stresses out on the end result and does nothing in the interim. At least from the personal perspective, we cannot have such plans. Our plans can be tempered with some amount of reality of what we can do. And the most important thing, what many people said is that the point I try to bring it out is, what is modern yoga relevance to the modern world? People are doing yoga, but the idea is that yoga means awareness. And an awareness that we keep our mind with us till the work is done. Usually mind flies off on its own, and the modern technology has enabled it to fly off on its own. All you need is one ting from your phone, or one jingle on the TV that you like, and then or so many things can happen like that. The other point is that when you plan, you have to have a single source of truth. Usually, what is your plan? I put it on my iPhone, but that iPhone has to be uploaded to the cloud, and that the cloud has to give some rainfall so that I can do. So that it goes on various different ways. And I know for a fact, Hanumat Preshak Maharaj, he uses the most high-tech way to plan. Shall I tell you the high-tech way to plan stuff? He takes an A11 sheet paper and takes a mechanical pencil, and he makes a calendar stuff on the paper, and he keeps it in the folder, and that's it. And every time Maharaj, we have this particular thing, he opens that and he says, he rubs off wherever that is, and then he marks it and he updates it. Where is the single truth? Because we have so many, we have a laptop, we have an iPhone, we have the office computer, we have the home computer, we have the iPad. So where is the single source of truth? And when you don't have the proper tools, the mind has to first figure out what the tool is. Then where the plan has to be executed. As you said, things become so complex. What was supposed to be a simple planning mechanism the planning itself became a planning exercise. Where do we put it? Oh, reminders. We need to get some reminders. Where should I get the reminders? Oh, it should be turned off. So the idea is we keep our planning simple. We keep our planning realistic. If you have to have some sort of reasonable time management, then we also have some balance between destroying the relationships as a part of our management versus having some sort of, because we are in a community, close-based knit community, you have some major plan going on, your devotee friend calls up and says there is a crisis, and how do you handle? So many things can crop up. Our planning has realistic, our planning has to be in tune with also our nature, which is the most important thing. People plan, but their plan is a vision of not of themselves, but someone else they aspire to be. And then your plan is bound to fail. So when you execute, these are all the practical aspects that one needs to consider. You are you, one of my colleagues, he put a sign outside his cube. He said, just be yourself, everyone else is taken. So these planning activities should start with spiritual aspect. So the aspect is the first thing is my sadhana is strong, or the time is made out for my sadhana first. Whatever is your level, you may be chanting 2 rounds or 3 rounds or 16 rounds or 64 rounds, but that takes priority. Because even among spiritual life, there is so much of confusion. Should I read? Should I chant? Should I listen? Should I cook? Should I do this? Should I do that? The idea is, let's keep it simple. Our rounds take the topmost priority, irrespective of what it is. And that is the foundation. And we keep the time for that. Everything else, if you have time, we can do it. Otherwise, we cannot do it. Any thoughts? Any other realizations devotees had? Because this is an idea that we can share. Everybody can really, get encouraged. Yes, Prabhuji. Madhav Govind Prabhu, you had something to say? Okay, after him. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Today I was listening to Srila Prabhupada recording.
Okay.
His first lecture, I think, on Bhagavad Gita, introduction. And it is related to your you are you, that point. And he said that there are so many trillions and trillions of living entities, and each one is special, each one is different, and has a specific relationship with Krishna. And one realizes that, then when he understands his swarup, his original constitutional position. So I just thought that I will share.
Excellent, thank you. Madhav Govind Prabhu.
I heard the time management, there was some story which was told actually. And the professor brought a lot of stones, and then he brought a sand,
Right.
and then he asked to fill everything up. And the students tried different ways in a jar. So the solution to the answer was first fit the big balls, and then everything else will fit into it. Same way like how you're telling about taking the important aspect of our spiritual life, and we fit it in, then everything else fits in well.
Thank you. And even if it doesn't fit well, there is no lamentation or guilt. Because ultimately what remains is our spirit soul. The body is anyway going to give up. Okay, you died having 80,000 dresses instead of 100,000 that you were hoping. It really doesn't matter. 80,000 will stay here, 100,000 will also stay here. Right? So the goal is that what is important is what I seek after. Yeah, excellent point. Thank you. Any other? Yes. Nikunja Sundari Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I was actually remembering the point Vaishishka Prabhu used to say, that where the interest lies, that's where the energy flows. So I think that helps us to prioritize our things and then plan accordingly.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, where the interest goes, energy flows. Where the attention goes, energy flows. Well, sometimes there is no interest. Chanting is such a... I have to do it. For the lack of word. But but still the idea is that I will block that time. Because mind can give the temptation that if you just get that stock trading done at 6 o'clock in the morning, where it's really red hot, and we can get some money out of it. Japa, yes, you can always do it. The whole day is there. But this is the moment, the window of opportunity lies right now. No. That is where the problem comes. That's where the point is that I have higher priorities, even though it is the loss or gain. Because as a spirit soul, please understand, I have been experiencing these emotions since time immemorial. I have been taking millions and millions of births. I've been doing the same thing again and again and again. And it is just a matter of repeating the same thing, one way or other. Higher, lower, rich, poor. I have experienced through so many facets. But to achieve Krishna and to get the joy in actually achieving the lotus feet of Krishna, that is really something. It is worth aiming for. It's worth trying for. It's worth struggling for. Because in the end, it is so sweet that nothing matters. Can we look up 27, 26, 25? 6th canto, 11th chapter, 25th verse, please, if I remember right. So kindly repeat after me. Nanaka prishtam na cha parameshtyam na sarvabhaumam na rasadipatyam na yoga siddhir apunarbhavam va samanjasatva virahaya kangshe. Translation. O my Lord, source of all opportunities, I do not desire to enjoy in Dhruvaloka, the heavenly planets, or the planet where Lord Brahma resides, nor do I want to be the supreme ruler of all the earthly planets or the lower planetary systems. I do not desire to be the master of the powers of mystic yoga, nor do I want liberation if I have to give up your lotus feet. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. A pure devotee never desires to gain material opportunities by rendering transcendental service to the Lord, transcendental loving service to the Lord. A pure devotee desires only to engage in loving service to the Lord in constant association of the Lord and His eternal associates. As stated in the previous verse, Dasanu daso bhavitasmi. As confirmed by Narottam Das Thakur, Tandera charana sevi bhakta shanevash, janame janame hai eiya bilash. To serve the Lord and the servants of His servants in the association of devotees is only objective of a pure and alloyed devotee. And the question one might ask is why? Service. You're talking of again service, and if you do service, you get more service. Isn't that like working in a job? If you do very well, your boss says, "Excellent, good job. I'll give you. Here is more work." And then you are given more and more till your boss says you are no good. And then isn't that the same thing happening here? Why are you talking? But the idea is that pure devotional service to Krishna or the lotus feet of Krishna, there is such intense sweetness that you do not want to give up for anything else. Now, you might say, but in Bhagavatam people are doing it. Why not me also try? Dhruva said, I want a kingdom greater than my grandfather. and then he's published on the pages of Bhagavatam. Let me also try something audacious. Maybe in future Bhagavatam editions I might be also there. The point of the matter is, Bhagavatam teaches us that in spite of achieving such tremendous opulences, we are talking of one house, one luxury car, or one thing to that extent, or bank balance, whatever. They were talking of a whole planet to themselves, and the planet better than that of Brahma, not even close. It is such a planet that all the planets roam about. It's like, you are in a house where all your neighbors actually circumambulate your house every day morning, give you obeisances and gifts and presents, and then they go back. Kind of. But Dhruva, after obtaining that, he didn't become ecstatically happy. In fact, he said, what did I do? After getting Dhruvaloka. Now, the experiences of Bhagavatam are mentioned to fortify this idea within us that unless one reaches or obtains pure devotional service to Krishna, nothing can give you happiness. You may try. Krishna is not saying you should not try. But know from fact, make an informed decision. If after all the devotees, Prahlad Maharaj said, I saw my father. I saw the power and opulence that he carried. And none of us can even imagine, as I mentioned earlier, on what that power is that Nrsimhadev had. Yet Prahlad Maharaj said, I have no interest. This is useless. The service to my Lord is so transcendentally blissful that I do not care to be like my father. In fact, he did inherit the kingdom of his father. He said, no, thank you. And then, in this case, Vritrasura, he was saying the same thing. I don't want to be any of these things because your lotus feet has such intense joy that when one serves it, one gets the highest bliss, and there is nothing else that needs to be had. So our time management involves in trying to understand who we are, what is our position, who Krishna is, and how to serve him. That is the best form of time management, and best gains we get from the time management. Any further thoughts on what I said, or I've just been blabbering left, right, and center? Any further thoughts? Prabhuji, Mahaprabhuji, you have some thoughts to share?
I was just thinking about the planning part, which mentioned, Prabhu, that I think one of the main hindrances in execution of plan is that it's difficult to control mind. So I think the activity of planning itself is also not only pleasurable, it's also easy probably.
Right. Yeah.
But to execute it takes a lot of control of mind, and that is difficult to actually achieve.
I agree. And especially, I think one of the practical aspects I have seen is when you walk into the door to your office or to your institution or wherever, you just tune yourself out of you being a devotee or a father or a mother or, whatever be it, a criminal, forbid. But, we just have to tune out. And if the work allows, yes, you can probably have some other, maybe even, at work. Sometimes devotees, they say to me that, oh, my work is great. Why is it great? Because I can listen to bhajans all day long or lectures all day long. Which is a good activity, but my question is, how effective is your work being, or time is being utilized at work? If it helps you, yes, by all means. Because what are some of the thoughts of the devotees on that? I'm sure everybody has some thoughts. Yes, Krishna in the back. Please give it to him.
Hare Krishna. I think your comment is spot on, Prabhu. Bhagwan says in Gita, do your karma, right? He tells Arjuna to fight the battle. He doesn't tell him to sing bhajans and listen to lectures on the side of the battlefield.
Okay.
So we have to do our battle in the workplace.
Thank you. Yeah. So again, this is a little debatable and almost bordering controversial kind of topic. But the fact of the matter is that we have our duty at work, because our management at work, which might be dependent. It's something that if it can help, you should do it. But if not, then give full attention to work, because that work is a devotion to Krishna. That work is something that is actually useful. We do our duty with integrity. Mayapur Prabhu, yes.
So, Prabhu, we had the good fortune of getting some feedback from Radha Girdhari Prabhu couple of months back.
Mm-hmm.
This was the exact topic, and so Radha Girdhari Prabhu personally gave his own example. He says that if you are at work and he gave his own example that my manager was very happy, and then he started giving me more assignments, and that's how I learned the tricks of the trades. And eventually I started my own business. So same point he said, that at work, do not do this mistake of combining it and losing the efficiency. You may not be either ways.
Thank you. Harivamsha Prabhu. Oh, Vrinda Sevaka, she raised her hand first. Is that okay? Okay, go ahead.
Hare Krishna. I know one devotee, she's using this technique, she's turning on the kirtans and lectures on a very low volume, and it really helps to remind, because she works with people who she has to serve them when they're coming, and irritation before was coming, and trying this anger was coming, but these kirtans and lectures, they remind that they are all part and parcels of Krishna, the same as she is. So it's kind of helping to pacify and to treat them well, and they feel it, and they are when they meet this another attitude rather than just anger or something. Yeah, it helps.
Thank you. Please don't get me wrong on one point though, that if your work, you have to stay at work for 8 hours and your work is done in 6 hours, and you are not really, as Radhagiri, that Prabhu's example came, you are not ready to go to the next level and spend 2 hours at work, or whatever be the reason. It's a personal choice. Somebody says, I'm happy where I am, so I'm not going to worry too much about progressing into the next aspect of career. So that you can use that 2 hours to listen to lectures, and you should, because that's a good use of time. But if the work involves that, your whole attention is there, then it's probably wise to kind of do what is needed at work. So that's the point I'm trying to make. Harivamsha Prabhu.
Prabhu, I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
If you do the work with the thinking that I'm doing for the Krishna, how it different from chanting or anything else?
So because there are direct activities of devotion and there are indirect activities of devotion. So the direct activities of devotion are more effective. Indirect activities of devotions are helpful to maintain the direct activities of devotion. I'll give you an example. For most of the devotees, they have deities at home where they worship the deities, and they treat their home as a temple. They say, this home, my home is not mine, but it belongs to my deities whom I am taking care of here. And then when I go out to work, I'm just maintaining that temple to enable my service to my deities. So your work becomes an indirect devotional activity, but they are not the same. If you keep doing work without doing any devotion to Krishna, then you won't understand Krishna.
But when I do work, I feel, with the intention I do that, I am giving my all results to Krishna. So does it?
Well, how do you know if Krishna is accepting it? Okay. That's the point. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that you can obtain me only through bhakti. So to do bhakti is the main business, and to do all these things is to support that bhakti. Right? Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. If you have more questions, we can take it offline too, or we have some time. You have more questions? You're not convinced?
It's okay, Prabhu.
All right. Thank you. Harivamsha Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. I was just thinking that oftentimes there is
sort of a strict separation in our attitude between our Vyavaharika and Paramarthika. We think, okay, Paramarthika is spiritual activity, maybe direct devotional service, and when I do work, it's Vyavaharik. There is a very strict divorce, as if for the lack of a better word. But as Krishna is mentioning in Bhagavad Gita, they all get intertwined together as bhakti. And we often, because of this separation, we enter into a realm in which we are not absorbed in either of them.
Right.
When we are doing our direct devotional service, chanting, we are planning about work. And when we are working, we are planning that what happened to my rounds. So even if when we are hearing a lecture, I like to call it as a schizophrenia in both worlds.
Right.
And there is no victory in either world.
Right.
So
True.
I still feel I'm figuring out that balance in which Vyavaharika and Paramarthika become intertwined, like Arjuna, that Ma Manusmara Yudhya Cha, because otherwise Gita is wrong.
Correct. True.
So thank you for everybody else also put those points. It's a struggle how to be absorbed and also understand that while working there is a linkage to Krishna, and just not shove things under the carpet, as they say. Thank you.
Thank you. One last point before. The other thing is, if things go wrong at work, you blame Krishna. I've been listening to your lectures all day long, you still didn't give me promotion. It's a subtle thing that goes on in the background. But, yeah.
And Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he says that my devotee does service honestly. Like, if in the job place you are not doing your job and then listening bhajans and all, then it means you are cheating. You are cheating the time, 8 hours you should work, but you are not doing that. Whereas if you do it honestly, and you can do better job and become an example to others how devotee behaves in material life also. And if your job is like a manual job where you don't need to put your mind into it, just put inside the bag or something like this, then that job can be used for listening bhajans, and otherwise, no.
Thank you. And Nikunja Sundari Mataji, you will agree that for a surgeon operating on a brain, you don't listen to bhajans and do it at the same time. Even though if the patient is a devotee, you will be like, really? Yeah, so I again, it's more of an individual basis. So the time management, the point is that the absorption at work, in fact, the goal is that if I can work faster, then I can go back. That eagerness is there, and being absorbed in the work is different from being at work and just thinking about Krishna and, not being focused on either ways. So it's that, because the time management means that I need to devote my time at work versus my time at home or whatever. There is that compartments, but they are connected in a very harmonious way. Otherwise, life becomes like, it's like one thing all over. Sabek. Work is same, devotional service is same. As you said, thinking of work during japa and thinking of rounds during work, and it's just everything becomes like, anyways. Yes, Krishna, Maheshwari.
Hare Krishna, I'd like to make one more comment.
Yes.
Which is, in this discussion, we're treating work as separate.
Right.
From devotional service. And for all of us, that's the normal course of life. Or if you look at what Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita, what he says is you should be doing your work where in your heart of hearts, you're doing that work as a service to Krishna. If you are doing the work in service of Krishna, you don't need to remember Krishna all the time and do japa all the time while you're doing work. That need is simply not there because the work itself is your service. Just like cleaning the temple floor. You don't need to do japa. but it is as good as japa because it is service to Krishna himself.
Thank you for the point. At least there are two aspects to it though. I want to give a caveat. Because in the beginning stages of devotional service, what is called sadhana stage, the sadhana is that we have our bodily obligations, and then you have your spiritual obligations. But once you are advanced to the point where you are not identifying yourself with the body, then you have no work to do. And because your mind is in a state of samadhi in absorption of Krishna. So this is more for, at least for me, who am on the sadhana stage. So there are differences. It's not like 24/7 you are throughout your spiritual life, you still keep working. But beyond a stage, it's a different thing. So, Vijay.
So my understanding is that what Krishna talks about in Bhagavad Gita, the work, it's the Nitya Karmas and the Naimiti Karmas for the inside of the Varnashrama framework. So how do our job is itself doesn't come under the framework. So how we can take it and apply?
Like Arjuna did, because Arjuna was a Nitya Siddha devotee of the Lord. He still had to fight to show an example that being a devotee doesn't mean that you don't have to work. Kurvan Sada, the same verse that we were discussing, my devotee is engaged in all kinds of work. But the thing is that very work can be a source of surrender to Krishna. If things are not working out well, or there is a very difficult problem at work that you have to solve, you can actually depend on Krishna. That's a moment to use that to depend on Krishna and to solve the problem, because Krishna is the giver of intelligence. So what was supposed to be a difficult problem at work is a source actually to approach Krishna. So in that sense, the work becomes non-different. And every time that you go to work, the manager, the money, everything is belonging to Krishna. So if you see it in that particular harmonious way. One last point though, because I have seen, you have the CEOs of the Fortune 500 companies, yes or yes? They have billions and billions of dollars, but why are they still working? Because the reason is work gives meaning, not the money in of itself. And to the extent that you are not absorbed in devotional service 24/7, Kirtaniya Sadahari, to that extent we have to maintain and you have to work and you have to carry on the dual responsibilities. So as we progress, then we come to that stage. Yes, somebody raised their hand. Yes, Prabhuji.
So one difficult position often we get ourselves into in work is we pose ourselves what we are not. Means we don't have that expertise, but because it is the thing, which gives visibility, we pose ourselves and get into the problem. And in the sense like, they will give you something and then, no one give you some responsibility and you won't be able to do it and you will need help, basically. And so I was thinking in Bhagavad Gita, many times Krishna had been telling that, if you want to know the truth, you have to go to the authority, the self-realized. So we can apply that parallel at work, that, don't try to pose yourself what you are not, basically. You have some expertise, of course, you have, spent so many years in a particular workplace, you have some expertise, but then depend on others.
Thank you.
Collaborate. Actually, collaboration is that is the message, actually, one of the, you can get from Bhagavad Gita is that you don't try to pose yourself what you are.
Thank you. So we have 4 more minutes, and unless anybody had any other questions, we can at least do a little bit of japa, right? Easy way to remember Krishna. Everybody knows? Okay. So we'll chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 10 times. So it's easy, we'll count on the fingers. So we start with the ring finger, middle portion, Then we go down. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Everybody got it? Did anybody not get it? It's a compressed zip file because we have less time. Everybody got it? Okay. We chant one mantra, Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, and then we start the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So please repeat. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Hari Naam Sankirtan ki, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki. Any final thoughts? I think we have a minute. Huh? We have 2 minutes. Huh? 4:58. We have 2 more minutes. Goodness gracious, 1 more minute. We can manage time better now. Any final thoughts or comments? For this age, this Mahamantra is the best way to control the mind, the best way to achieve God. It's the only benediction for this age of Kali. Kaler dosha nide rajan asti he ko mahan guna. Kirtanadeva Krishnasya mukta sangha param brajet. So if we keep the holy name as the primary means and purpose of our life, then our lives will be sublime. I'm really grateful and thankful for all the devotees who have come here for the Sunday Feast lecture. Thank you for attending. So if there are no other questions or comments, the next program will be the Aarti, where we get to have the beautiful Aarti and the dancing and the singing in front of the Lord, and then followed by Prasadam. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpatarobhyascha kripasindhobhyevacha bhaktanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Srivas Pandit Prabhu ki jai.